Solar value 48. Welcome to the 9 of Spades. The double death card, the card of endings, the card of endings in the suit of endings, 9 in Spades. Interesting card. And once again, as we look back now on 47 cards that we have dealt with, we find a pattern, and in this case, it's a very positive pattern. The 9 of Spades is the Uranus card on the Venus line. And then it has a 2 of Hearts and Mercury, and then it crosses over to the Mars line where it encounters all those stable and even cards. What does it mean for the 9 of Spades, the giver of givers card, the very generous card, the very psychic and spiritual card? It means that once they come to terms with all the endings in their life, they can create stability, they can create happiness, they can create contentment. It's all there. They all have it. The card itself is one that challenges them, but once they have risen to that challenge, they get rewarded deeply. And that is because of all the stability they create. So endings are a given for the 9 of Spades. But once they come to terms with those endings and handle them gracefully and say, okay, these things, have served their purpose, they've reached their life end, so they can go, then new things come, and those things will have a more lasting, reliable, constant impact on their life, as indicated by the even cards on the Mars line. So let's have a look at our planetary sequence. First of all, in Mercury, we find the 2 of Hearts, and that is quite possible that the 9 of Spades had some early issues with emotional dependency, codependency up until the age of 13. 2 of Hearts. On the positive side, the mind is occupied with finding union in love, probably because it's easier to bear all those endings that the 9 of Spades encounters in its life. But on the negative side, 2s are fear cards, 2s are codependency cards, 2s are passive cards. So they can be too passive when it comes to expressing their emotions because it's their Mercury card. They can become codependent because it's so easier to have someone at their side to carry the load, or to be there as a valve, or to just be there as a shoulder to lean on. Can work, but always bears a risk. Before we dive deeper into the 2 of Hearts, the 9 of Spades sits at the very end of the Spade suit, embodying the deep and often demanding process of release, transformation, and spiritual fulfillment. People with a solar value are often called into a life of deep work, sometimes in service, sometimes in surrender, but always in truth. What follows is a look where each planetary influence reveals a facet of the journey that only 9 of Spades could truly live. And we're starting with Mercury, coming back in a way to that 2 of Hearts. In the realm of Mercury, communication and curiosity meet the 2 of Hearts, a card of emotional bonding and desire for connection. For the 9 of Spades, this creates a youthful yearning to merge, to be understood, and to experience emotional closeness through conversation and companionship. But Mercury moves fast, and this card can bring short-term, even fleeting attachments that teach them early on about the balance between giving and letting go. These connections aren't meant to last forever, but they plant the seeds of empathy and softness that become essential later in life. So that's the influence early in life, first 13 years. The 2 is nice because it hooks the 9 of Spades up for companionship, working with someone, being with someone, exchanging ideas and experiences with someone. So that's a lovely energy to have under Mercury. However, once again, the 2, a little bit of fear element in there, a little bit of passiveness in there, a little bit of codependence in there. So that's what the Nine of Spades needs to look out for. It's understandable that sort of one would want to share the burden, share the load that those endings place on the Nine of Spades native, but it needs to really step into its own power and understand that others are not there to create the balance. The balance comes through one's own understanding, through one's own work, and through one's own empowerment. Others are nice for communication, for understanding, just a moment of release, but they're not there to do the work for us. And that's what the Nine of Spades needs to understand. Then lane change, we enter the Mars line, Two of Hearts gone. By the way, Two of Hearts, semi-fixed card. So they have semi-fixed attitudes towards love and also communication. And that semi-fixedness can be to their detriment, just as a reminder. In Venus, then, we find the King of Hearts, which is nice because, I mean, that is the loving father card in the placement of relationships, intimate relationships, general relationships, money. So there's emotional maturity coming in here, and that magnetic warmth that the King of Hearts carries. There's the lover as leader, the one who brings calm into the storm. And when this energy is integrated, the Nine of Spades becomes a presence of deep compassion, King of Hearts, and unconditional love. Because at the King level, it's unconditional. At the 9 level, too, but here it would be a 9 of Spades. But here the unconditionality comes through the level of the King. But this also carries the challenge of being emotionally available to others while not losing oneself in the process. It carries the challenge of being emotionally available. King of Hearts, loving father, I'm available to you. I'm there for you to help you and support you. But there's always a risk of losing yourself in the process. Two of Hearts in Mercury. Losing yourself in the process. King is there for others. Risk losing yourself in the process. Losing yourself in the process, codependency element with that Two of Hearts in Mercury. Love becomes a vehicle for healing, both for them and for those they draw into their orbit. And yes, with the King of Hearts in Venus, you're certainly popular. And you know how to command the masses with that energy. Because it's about other people, relationships that you're related to. And there you come with that kingly energy of the King of Hearts. Lovely. In Mars, and here again, 9 of Spades. Okay, now it's not Mercury and Venus, but it's Venus and Mars. Once again, one card of this, the heart suit, followed by the same card of a diamond suit. We had this so many times. With the 8 of Spades, we had this too with the Ace of Hearts and the Ace of Diamonds, and the 3 of Clubs and the 3 of Spades. But here again, we're talking about the red cards here, King of Hearts, King of Diamonds, Venus and Mars. So in Mars, we find the King of Diamonds. That's nice because, it's once again so almost not contradictory, but so it doesn't really fit that 9 of Spades, which is so fated, all those endings, all those mini deaths that the 9 of Spades dies in its life. Then getting that immensely strong card with the King of Diamonds in Mars, and even the King of Hearts in Venus. Here Mars, gives them drive, determination, all the energy, and the King of Diamonds says, I'm the master of the realm of values, of the material realm. I'm a successful business person. So here that almost like intimidated and beaten 9 of Spades gets given all the ammunition it needs to lead a successful life. It's beautiful. Mars, planet of action and will, teams up with the King of Diamonds, an energy of leadership in the material world. Here, the 9 of Spades is driven to master financial and business realms, but with the responsibility that true power demands. Their challenge is not to act from ego, but from integrity, and to build structures that support their deeper purpose. If misused, this can bring burnout or isolation, but when aligned, it provides the foundation for lasting impact. Very general, but what it says is, here's a successful businessman. And under Mars, he makes sure that this is actually being implemented. Once again, fingerprint, potential. It doesn't mean that the Nine of Spades native is aware of it. But once it becomes aware of the immense power that it wields, both under Venus and under Mars, it can combine that to become not only popular, but also convert that popularity into tangible results. There was the word. Tangible results. And then it becomes successful. Once again, given a challenge, once risen to the challenge, the rewards are immense. And that actually is confirmed when we look at the Jupiter card. Because now in Jupiter, we find the Six of Hearts, the Peacemaker's card. So the growth, the expansion for the Nine of Spades takes place through harmony, emotional fairness. They are the gateways to expansion for the Nine of Spades. Because it's so easy with all those trials and tribulations to cave in. But once you rise, once you understand, you balance your emotions, you become responsible, there's a karmic element connected to it. And when those Nine of Spades follow their inner compass in love and friendship, rather than chasing approval, they get rewarded. Six of Hearts, inner compass. Cause and effect. Sixes are connected to Libra, justice, balance. And in order to express justice and balance, you need to have your inner compass right. And because here it's the Six of Hearts, which means the compass is in the realm of love and friendship and relationship. So don't look for approval because you've got those strong kings, the King of Hearts and the King of Diamonds. Just keep it balanced above all, and then you'll see how Jupiter magnifies that. And it also magnifies the importance of inner peace, forgiveness, and karmic balance, especially in relationships. And it says this placement encourages them to stay steady and compassionate, knowing that the emotional seeds they plant will come full circle in time. Remember, sixes, it takes time. Things don't manifest overnight. Make sure that you set the right causes in motion, especially on the emotional side with that Six of Hearts, and over time that will grow into something beautiful. Right. We carry on. Saturn, Four of Clubs. Beautiful. The card of mental stability and satisfaction, order and structure in the realm of Saturn. Saturn loves that. Saturn is the teacher. So there's a bit of a risk, so don't become too rigid under Saturn and with that four. But in general, it's a lovely placement because it gives that Nine of Spades a really stable mind. Yes, they have to learn, they have to become aware of it, but the potential is there to go through all those endings, to go through all those changes while keeping a steady mind. If you know that all those endings are coming, if you know that you have to release, that you have to give and relinquish and let go, then you can be mentally totally at ease. Here it says that Saturn asks for discipline and structure, and it finds the Four of Clubs. And it finds both in the Four of Clubs, the discipline and the structure, the card of mental stability and practical knowledge. This is a powerful placement for someone whose life demands reflection, study, and the development of a stable inner voice. That's Nine of Spades, whose life demands reflection. Why are things ending? Study, the why is linked to the study, and the study is then sort of linked to the development of the stable inner voice. Things are happening. You don't know what the heck is going on. Okay, so you go back, you turn within, you reflect on those things, and the result of the reflection is the development of the inner voice. It's actually okay. Those things have served their purpose. It's fine that they sort of left me, because only that which is mine stays with me. Everything else has to go and will go. And remember, we're talking here about the birth card of the Nine of Spades. We all have Nine of Spades at some points in our life, and that's when that energy kicks in. And then it's almost like not like an inverse funnel, it's like a vacuum cleaner. You know, there's the 8 of spades and with a hose, and it just sucks all those elements and those qualities of that 9 of spades life path in, and distills them, makes them available, and makes them available to any native in order to obtain and get the most out of it. Saturn also tests them here. Are they using their mind to reinforce old stories or build new paradigms? Mastery comes when the 9 of spades learns to trust their inner framework rather than relying on external validation. Once again, that's what we're talking about. Reflection, study, and the development of a stable inner voice. That is your inner framework. And don't rely on external validation, which is so easy with that King of Hearts and the King of Diamonds. Brings us to Uranus. Here we find the Wheeler Dealer. Lovely placement in Uranus, because here we find innovation and change, and the Two of Diamonds is about value exchange, both financial and personal. And it says here that the combination pushes the 9 of spades to explore non-traditional Uranus partnerships, 2 of diamonds, to break free Uranus from outdated ideas of security and to question what is truly valuable. There's often a calling towards alternative business models or spiritual entrepreneurship. Liberation for them lies in detaching from material fear, 2 of diamonds, and embracing aligned collaboration. Aligned collaboration, aligned in values, collaboration, 2 of diamonds. And that's the liberation, the freedom that comes through Uranus. But it also brings innovation and change. So that 2 of diamonds energy, which is quite business minded and driven and cooperation driven, can work beautifully here for the 9 of spades. Non-traditional partnerships, breaking free from outdated ideas of security, because 2s are about security, but Uranus makes sure that that is being broken up. And then sort of obviously questioning what is truly valuable. What, once again, can I let go? What can I release? Where can I be generous? And that obviously relates to any kind of partnership too. And when it comes to values in partnership, not just financial transactions and of financial partnerships, but in general, even personal partnerships, where you have that element of value exchange and also value equilibrium. And because of all those endings and the psychic side of that 9 of spades, you know, sort of alternative business models or spiritual entrepreneurship, they rank really high on the agenda. So they can make money with their own life story in a way. Quite nice. And that is further supported by the Jack of Spades in Neptune, because the Jack of Spades is the spiritual initiate, and Neptune is, you know, our dream landscape, our visions, our ideals, but also the illusions and the spiritual subconscious. And the Jack of Spades is the spiritual apprentice, which keeps changing, keeps evolving. This placement often brings hidden gifts in creativity, mysticism, or even performance, but it also warns of self-deception, escapism, or spiritual bypassing. For the 9 of spades, this card can unlock the archetype of the spiritual warrior, someone who learns by trial and error and teaches by simply being. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Jack of Spades, very creative card, and under Neptune that can be put to good use to connect to that dream world. And Jacks are very good at like piercing through the illusions. And their creativity in the spiritual realm, Jack of Spades, their youthful approach, their unconventional approach to that, because, you know, Jack energy is Uranus energy. Uranus energy is, or Jack energy is Aquarian energy, and Aquarian energy is Uranus energy. So they can come up with sudden, brilliant ideas, sudden changes. And under Neptune connected to the spiritual realm. So that helps the 9 of spades actually let go helps the nine of spades not let go, release, and it also helps it in their life path in order to become more stable and more successful. If that is actually necessary, looking at the cards it already enjoys. Under Pluto, we find a fixed card, which is tricky. It's the Eight of Clubs. And here we find the card of mental power in the realm of transformation, ego, and death. In other words, the lifelong transformation for the Nine of Spades is to develop mental power. But don't be too fixed, don't be overpowering, don't be manipulative, don't be too static. There's a risk here. This is where the Nine of Spades must learn to release control. The mind can be a gift or a prison here, and the evolutionary task is to dismantle mental rigidity in favor of inspired discipline. Dismantle mental rigidity in favor of inspired discipline. Mastery means using their mind as a tool of empowerment rather than domination, unlocking their deepest potential in the process. And once again, it makes perfect sense. Pluto asks you to transform. How does it ask you to develop a strong, stable mind, but on the other hand, guard against being mentally too fixed? Now, everything is two-sided. Everything has a high side and a low side. Focus, developmental strength, fixed thought, but don't be too fixed. Don't be too strong. Don't be overbearing. Don't be overpowering. Because your life cards can, especially with those two kings, can actually lead to that. So be soft, be softer, transform, develop strength, but soft strength. The evolutionary task is to dismantle mental rigidity in favor of inspired discipline. So there you have it. And for the Nine of Spades, life is rarely simple, but it's always meaningful. And those 8 planetary influences reveal the steps of a sacred journey through love, power, wisdom, and release. And when embraced fully, this path becomes one of true spiritual authority, quiet, steady, and unmistakably profound. Sweet. I love it. You know, so as I'm going through those cards, I recognize patterns. And patterns are beautiful because patterns are the only thing you can rely on. When things repeat themselves. And here the system, because the way it's been quadrated, things do repeat. And you see this in those card sequences, you know, 2 black cards, 2 red cards next to each other. You know, 3 of clubs, 3 of spades, king of hearts, king of diamonds, 7 of hearts, 7 of diamonds, 4 of hearts, 4 of diamonds, 6 of clubs, 6 of spades, 9 of clubs, 9 of spades. 3, 6, 9, by the way, are the black ones. It's not the case with the black aces, not with the 2s, not with the 3s, we've got it, not with the 4s, not with the 5s. With the 6 is the case, not with the 7s, not with the 8s. With the 9 it's the case. So 3, 6, 9, there's the answer to the question of the universe, the beauty of the 3, 6, 9 that Nikola Tesla was talking about. And when we look at the red cards, we find the aces, ace of hearts, ace of diamonds. We don't find the 2s. We don't find the 3s because they're on the black side. We find the 4s, 4 of hearts, 4 of diamonds. We don't find the 5s. We don't find the 6 because we've got them on the black side. We don't find the 7s. We don't find the 8s. We find the 9s on the black side. We find the 10s on the red side with the 10 of hearts and 10 of diamonds. Jacks not, queens not, and kings neither. Birthdays for the 9 of spades are shown up here. Enjoy. We are entering like rare territory now at the beginning of the year. A couple of 9 of spades, not that many. And once again, if you liked it, if you would like to share, leave a comment, share your thoughts, you are most welcome to it. Always love hearing from you. If you're in a 9 of spades period, if you have a 9 of spades as a planetary ruler, if you know of someone who's got a 9 of spades, please let me know. Because together we complete the picture. And I'm giving you extracts from it, short snippets, and can't possibly put everything in here. I just want to look at one thing quickly before we carry on. 9 of Spades karma cards, King of Hearts, and 6 of Spades. So it's got a King of Hearts in front of it. And funny enough, because the Venus card is the 6 of Hearts, so it's got that its own karma card as its Venus card, which is a bit of a challenge. And then that 6 of Spades is quite interesting because the 6 of Spades has a 9 of Spades, obviously as a first karma card. So there's like that fate card entering the 9 of Spades life. So the 9 of Spades may feel a lot of fateful occurrences happen in his life. That's a rather clunky way of expressing this. It may realize that lots of happenings, occurrences, events in its life are fated or carry that fateful energy. In other words, it had to happen. And it had to happen in order to derive meaning from it, in order to balance things out. And 6 of Hearts in Jupiter, and then make the best of it, make the most of it. And once again, the 9 of Spades has actually a rather positive life path, and it just needs to be aware of it, and it needs to play its cards properly. Once again, thank you very much for your attention. If you would like to have a consultation, I show you the URL and the QR code, so feel free to get in touch. And otherwise, we'll continue with the 10 of Spades, or you are most welcome to watch any other video in this series. I shall remain with peace and blessings and say goodbye.